We're about to give Edgar Markov a command zone worthy of his power,
Edgar is a beloved commander and has touched the hearts of many players.
as he sucks the hearts of their opponents dry. This is the king of vampires. We wanted to make something that is worthy of that legacy.
Without further ado, let's get designing.
Actually, you know what you could do? You could actually make a crypt or a tomb.
Yeah.
Like something so that when he is off the battlefield, he retreats back to slumber.
Very vampire-y, you know.
For sure. Yeah, he's just going back to rest. Again, like the Underworld movies and things like that. He just get locked away while his clan no longer needs him.
Almighty.
Oh yeah. Best vampire there's ever been. I wonder if we could do some sort of mechanism into the command zone, like in that you have to move a couple of items around to properly.
Unlock it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
to
that was
unlock
so-
it.
Yeah, I really like that idea, so I guess just get into CAD and start designing it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
let's just see.
So this is what I want Edgar's command zone to look like. As you can see, it is a sarcophagus that is inspired by the artwork of Edgar. An advantage of using CAD is that I can more easily design how the moving parts of the build will work. So I wanted to create a puzzle box like mechanism so that the lid could only be unlocked after the sides are slid away. I also built a mechanism that tilts the platform the card sits on upwards when the altar is slid forward. This creates the illusion of Edgar rising from his slumber. Once I'm satisfied with the design, I will break it down into templates and then cut them out of the various materials I need. I will include a link to the files in the description so you can use them if you want to make one yourself. Now I have the templates printed, I mounted them to their respective materials and cut out the profiles, starting with the foam board. I used a light glue so that I could easily peel off the templates later in the process without damaging the materials. For cutting the MDF, I ended up using a multi-tool as it was much easier than hacking away with a craft knife. The templates shown here are not exactly as shown previously in the CAD model. That is because I added the sliding altar element halfway through the build. I used the Cricut machine to cut out the intricate pattern of the motif, but it did not completely cut through the card, so I had to finish it off by hand. Now that I have the bulk of my materials cut out, it is time to start assembling. I used hot glue to stick the XPS foam to the MDF parts of the base. These act as rails that create the sliding function that is central to the design of Edgar's home sweet home. Then I added a layer of card to keep it all together. Then I let it dry in this handy cooking book clamp I found. I want the base to have a tiled effect, so I measured out 1 cm by 1 cm squares and carved it into the foam using a sharp point. I love the XPS foam because it is so easy to carve and shape. Also, it's really cheap. I then began constructing the foam board elements of the build that will make up the main structure of the sarcophagus. I mounted this element to the tiled base using hot glue. I don't have a hot wire cutter, so I just use a sharp blade to cut and shape the XPS foam. We hope you're enjoying our YouTube content. If you are, we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe, like and share our videos. We're just starting out and I've really appreciated all of the positive feedback we got on the last video, and I hope to make way more in the future. Let's get back to the build. You can see the sliding lock mechanism starting to take shape now. This will key into the lids so that you can't remove it when the sides are locked into position. Scrunched up tinfoil is great for adding stone-like texture to both the foam board and the XPS foam. The craft knife also works great for breaking up any sharp, unnatural edges. I wanted to have a snug fit so the seam lines between the moving parts are not obvious to the untrained eye. The design of the motif is inspired by Edgar's Gothic armour. I really wanted him to feel at home in his highly ornate tomb. I just hope he can make some room there for all his vamp token buddies. We all know he can end up making a few. Let me know in the comments what the most ridiculous Edgar board state you have ever seen is. As you can see, I'm building depth into the motif by layering up cardboard and sticking it down with PVA glue. I was finding it hard to grip the sliding mechanism, so I decided to make a mini flying buttress to act as a handle. And now it's ready for paint. First I applied a dark grey house paint as a base coat to the whole model. I used brown, off-white and black to paint the tiles at random to create a range of colours across the stonework. If you look closely at brickwork or natural tiles, you will see that often they are not identical in colour. I am trying to mimic this effect. It looks very cartoony at the moment, but once I add the dry brushing and washes it will reduce the contrast in colour. Then I dry brush all the stonework with Citadel Wraithbone. If you want to learn how to dry brush, check out my previous video, I go into more detail there. I made up a black wash out of paint, water and a drop of washing up liquid. This helps the wash run into all the small nooks and crannies of the model. Now time to paint the motif. I opted for a gold colour to really make the design stand out from the dark brickwork. I'm really happy with how the top turned out. I think the design suits Edgar great. The gold makes it look like a worthy resting place for the king of vamps. I added some quick washes of green and brown to tie it into the rest of the brickwork. I love adding all the small details at the end of the build. They are what help build a narrative into the model. I made tiny little candles. I thought these might have been left here by Edgar's servants, as they were waiting for him to rise once more. I also made a little goblet to go on top of the altar. The idea was that this could cradle a d20 dice, so you can track Edgar's command attacks throughout the game. Now for the most important element in a vampire tomb. Blood. Glorious blood. I wanted it to look like a gruesome battle had taken place all around the commander zone. A vampire design was the perfect armour for Edgar, as a final finishing touch. If you would like to get an armour plate for yourself, head over to our website, link is in the description. We have a huge range of designs so that you can create something that suits your commander. And now time for the grand reveal. I'm really happy with the final result. Let me know in the comments what you would like me to do next. I've been reading all your feedback and I really appreciate it. See you next time.